From the Bob Mills Weather Center, the Oklahoma weather expert, David Payne.
And ice, it continues out there. For some places, very, very heavy. Trackers are still out, and for good reason. We have a little bit of some wind blowing, not a whole lot, but still enough to kind of blow some of this around. But man, folks, south of Oklahoma City, it just continues to get worse. Let's go to Jeremy Carter. He's down south. He's south of Oklahoma City. We have some slick spots in the metro, but let's go down south and get a quick update from Jeremy Carter. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, David. So we've had this sleet on the ground here in Purcell, and just here a few minutes ago, it came in a real heavy rain, and you can see these roads have literally went over to an ice skating rink. I got a FedEx truck here, and he can't even pull off a night onto the highway to get back out 35. Back to you.
All right, wow. So this is going to be an ongoing problem. From Oklahoma City south with that freezing rain, that is going to be the big problem, right? Talking about just a glaze of ice on top of the sleet. It's a hot mess for sure. Let's go to Brandon Pennell, and he's farther north and still looks the same, right? He has freezing rain, at least on his windshield. You can see it there. A little bit of everything going on, Brandon, down in Purcell. Boy, that's a mess. Slow go there.
Yeah, David, that's absolutely correct. As we came south on 77 out of Noble, we encountered just a torrential downpour. It was probably 70% rain, 30% sleet, and Highway 77 just immediately went ice covered. And now in Purcell, we're getting about a 50-50 mix of sleet versus freezing rain. Back to you.
Okay, there you go. So winter storm continues with sleet and freezing rain in Purcell, and he said mainly freezing rain. So here we go. Okay, let's go back to it here. And Lynx 1, 35 hours now, at or below freezing in Oklahoma City. And we're going to stack many more hours on top of that. Winter storm warning comes up to McLean County, from there all the way to Tulsa. This is where the heaviest ice and sleet will be through today. And then the traveler's advisory will stay in effect through tonight and tomorrow as we get our next wave of more winter precipitation. More on that coming up. Temperatures in the teens right now. It's a breezy north wind. Doesn't take much wind. Wind chills right now in the single digits. Brutally cold outside. Road conditions in the purple. You're covered up with a mix of ice and sleet running from Tulsa down to Oklahoma City, down to Chickasha, down to Lawton. And look at all the freezing rain and sleet going on in the east and south metro, from there to Tulsa, to Henrietta, to Holdenville, to Ada, down to Pauls Valley. Northern and western Oklahoma, you are finished with the heavy precip for the day. Another wave, though, more on that will come up tonight. But right now, Lincoln County, Pottawatomie County, this is all heavy sleet with pockets of freezing rain and or freezing rain with pockets of sleet, all right? It kind of changes from time to time. Either way, it's a mess now, running from McLeod to Chandler to Meeker, eastbound. I-40, not a good time to do that. I-44 to Tulsa, not a good time. You can get there, but you're going to be slow for sure. And south and east of Norman, or Norman southbound, not good either. Meeker, Sparks, lots of heavy sleet and ice there. And then it's just a big mess down south. Purcell, Wynnewood, Pauls Valley, lots of sleet, ice in there, freezing rain. That's the ice. And then you'll go from that back and forth. So here's what's fallen so far. And that's where all the precip, this is ice and sleet, has fallen today. And Oklahoma City on the north side of that. You get out towards Tologa and Elk City and Cheyenne, basically nothing there. But it's been from central, southern into eastern Oklahoma. A couple of pictures today, a half mile apart. That picture, half mile apart, you had that, right? So, yeah, it's taken by the same person, by the way. In Northwest 50th and Penn, we had thunder, we had lightning, and we had hail. That's nearly a quarter-size hailstone that came into Oklahoma City with those thunderstorms that was producing all the sleet and the hail. So crazy things going on again this morning. Cassie, I tell you what, southern and southeast Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma, it is a mess, and it will be for the rest of the day for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what it is. It's just kind of a big winter mess. And we've been talking about that winter mix, and that's exactly what is happening. So the farther south and east you go of I-44 today, that is where those chances will just kind of linger, and they're going to be a lot higher. Now, temperatures today, we're obviously not going to climb a whole lot, but afternoon highs generally in the low to mid 20s, some upper 20s in the southeast, and Idabel the warmest at 34 degrees. Well, this evening, all the precipitation really starts to wind down quite a bit. So at least here in Oklahoma City, we're going to go with about a 20% chance of maybe some very light freezing drizzle and flurries. Now, the farther south and east you go, we're going to have a little bit more moisture still kind of lingering around. So we're still looking at light ice from Sallisaw to McAllister to Durant, but around McCurtain County, it could still be just a light rain generally because temperatures right around that freezing marker just a little bit above. Now, overnight and into tomorrow morning, temperatures will continue to drop off. We're talking about overnight lows in the mid and upper teens, but about 12 degrees in Guyman versus 14 in Woodward and 30 degrees down in Idabel. Overnight tonight, things look pretty quiet, but as we get into tomorrow morning, here comes that next wave, and it's still looking pretty good for a very similar to what we had earlier today in Oklahoma City. It's going to be a mixture of sleet and freezing drizzle, possibly at times a little bit of light freezing rain, so it could pick up in bands or at least in waves, but definitely a little bit more likely in the southwest as it initially pulls in, and then southeast Oklahoma still warm enough for drizzle and or light rain. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures are going to be very similar. We're going to be back in the mid-20s, but low to mid 20s across the north, mid and upper 20s in the southwest, and still the low to even potentially the upper 30s in the far southeast. During the day tomorrow, we're still going to have a moderate chance of a wintry mix here in central Oklahoma, but the farther south and east you go, we're starting to run into more of a freezing rain event. But in McCurtain County, more of a light rain event. Tomorrow night and Wednesday morning, things are looking pretty dry across much of the state. The exception is going to be in the far southeast. Wednesday, we've got another wave moving in, but the chances overall are going to be a little bit lower. Most of us, it could be warm enough to see plain rain during the day, but there's going to be a little swath just to the west where we could see maybe some light ice mixed in at times. So Wednesday afternoon, we should make it above freezing, going with the high of about 37 degrees in Oklahoma City, the upper 30s across the north and mid and upper 30s across the south Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Now we just have that slight chance of some very light ice across really the metro, but the farther south and east you go, again, temperatures warmer, so we're looking at some light rain. So by the time it's all said and done through Thursday morning, how much ice are we looking at? Well, probably just a glaze around the metro. The farther south and east you go, we're talking about a whole lot more where we could actually see some power outages here eventually through Wednesday. As far as sleet is concerned, up to around a quarter in central Oklahoma, and the farther east and north you go, that's where we could see some of those higher totals. Things will get better here eventually. Cannot wait till Thursday. Temperatures in the upper 40s and more sunshine. This weekend doesn't look bad. It does look warmer and especially looks dry. We'll be right back.